Just a heads up. I know there's a lot of new people in here. This is a refresher and kind of an update from our last time that we did this as a company. So just keep in mind, this is the direction that we have chosen to go as a company. I'm not saying that this is 100% the correct way, but this is the way that we teach. This is the way that Boog teaches it. And this is the way that I think is the most efficient. So we stick with something. If you have opposite ideas, I'm always welcome to have the conversation. But if you do come to me with an idea, you better come correct, because I like to argue. So with that being said, welcome to all the new guys that are in here. Thank you for coming. I hope you enjoy this. We're going to make it quick. I don't like to fucking ramble. We're going to go right through it, and then we're going to move on. Overall overview. By the way, if you have any questions, just feel free to stop me, and then I'll ask again at the end as we go through, but just don't be afraid to ask any questions. So the quick overview, we're going to go over the objective of the kill squads, typical target prios, group 7, group 8, group 9, group 10, our attack approach, and our defense overall, and how we are supposed to reset. Okay, so let's get right into it. The overall objective of kill squad in this meta is to fight flanks outside of the quads. We do this to apply and prevent healer pressure and affect quads by controlling the space around them, looking for main raid value. Again, the biggest thing here, the kill squads are a support function of the war. I know it seems like that the war is won and lost on the flanks, but they are a support function. The bottom line is the point don't spin, you ain't winning the fucking war. So keep that in mind when you are playing kill squad, that your overall objective is to secure main raid value. It does not matter how hard you are winning on the outside if a healer doesn't die or a quad player doesn't get affected, okay? And once again, main raid value is secured by healer kills and quad group picks. So anytime that you control a large amount of space on those outsides, you should be looking to then translate it into value. The cool thing about kill squads in this meta is that you can have a large impact on the main raid. It really just depends on how you want to do it, okay? Why is kill squad important? I drew this little graph up here at the top. We'll go over that in a second, but basically I'm going to run you through this. Improper kill squad pressure equals the quads cannot set up comfortably. If the quads don't set up comfortably, that means they don't crash well. If they don't crash well, that means we take bad trades. If we take bad trades, that means we don't spin the point. If we don't spin the point, that means we die and reset. And if we die and reset, we are wasting time. If we're wasting time, we're losing the war. So basically, not to put any pressure on you guys, but improper kill squad pressure equals losing the war. So it is a support function, but it needs to support properly. You don't have a building on stilts. If the stilts fall apart, then the building collapses, right? The house is still the main objective. The building is still the main objective, but those stilts are very important to what happens to the overall. And here's a good kind of like a graph or a visual, right? Let's say this is last flag we're attacking. We're automatically going to assume control of the green zone whenever we approach. Yellow is where we start to fight for control, and red is where the enemy has control. So if you visualize this from a top-down perspective, right now our top quads, or our top right quad is under pressure, our bottom right quad should be free, our bottom left quad is under pressure, and our top left quad is impossible to play. If we don't take control of Oppo, we don't get a top left quad, which means we don't control all 4 quads, which means our crashes are going to be weaker. And I hope that if anyone has any questions on that, just let me know. It kind of ties into the main ball macro as well, but I'm letting you guys know how the kill squad affects that. Excuse me. Target prios, we have recently switched this up. I like the way that we do it now. I think it's the proper way, so we're going to keep doing it. The sender, quote-unquote sender, again, I assign this in Boogaflu from now on. No more fucking pre-war conversations about who's sending and who's not, because then it gets jumbled up. But I will assign, the roster will assign the sender. The sender's job is to apply constant enemy healer pressure. I watched a VOD the other day of a Supple Dropouts War where Feint was doing this immensely. If you are the sender, you should be looking to stop casting, or stop the enemy healer from casting. Should be looking them to make them reposition. Just overall, just applying that pressure so that the then target caller, which would be the other disruptor in the group, should be looking for light DPS / healer pressure and calling the targets out. Remember that when you are the target caller, you should be saying who you are hitting, where they are, and the status. No riposte, no stone form. What are some other things? No tomb if you're hitting someone with an IG. Whatever the case may be. Who, where, what's their status, all right? One shot, one shot, one shot. These are big things that the target caller needs to be capable of doing. I've already kind of highlighted who's capable of doing it in Boogaflu, so it's kind of great because we just put them in the spot that they're comfortable in. Light DPS, you are the target caller's damage. Remember to take space while dealing damage. This is big for my bows, especially on the wide fight. If you are not taking space, light DPS, the group will not earn space. So Fire Staff is really good for this in this meta. I really like Fire Staff for the aggressive damage. But remember, you should be looking to push into what you are trying to kill instead of staying back and trying to kill it from a distance. Because when you are staying back, if you look down here at the bottom right, the healer should never be in front of the ranged DPS. Healers that go in front of the ranged DPS typically die. So that means the ranged DPS have to push up in order for the healer to reach the disruptors. Okay? It's very simple. So everybody pushes up on a target. It should look something like this. All right, we have our enemy healer. The sender is getting on the enemy healer at the bottom right of my screen. And then the target caller is finding a light target, letting the disruptor slip past him. He's going to get on one of our light DPS, and the ranged DPS should be focusing the same thing that the target caller is hitting. I know this is a lot. It seems like a lot, but once you do it a little bit, it really ain't that bad. I've got some pretty experienced disruptors in here that could tell you that it's really not that tough as long as you clearly delineate who is supposed to do what. As soon as you engage, you do it. You look to get a heal or a kill, and then you look to start either translating or snowballing that fight. Healer, your job is to keep the group alive / reeled in. Remember, healer, your positioning is crucial to the group's survivability. If you are the type of healer in kill squads that constantly pushes through your ranged DPS, you will constantly be in pressure. So try not to do that if your ranged DPS aren't pushing forward. Again, this is part of the reeled in thing. I like to think of quarterbacks as healers as kind of like the quarterbacks in the group. If your group is doing something incorrectly in terms of positioning, it is your primary job to let them know what they are fucking up. If you don't let them know what they're fucking up, you are going to have a worse time. So healers, make sure that you have the balls to let your group know if they're fucking something up. And also, if they're being too aggressive, you should be telling them to reel it in or look for main raid value. Are there any questions on the target prios? Nope. Ooh. All right, we're going to go into individual group assignments now. Group 7, we assign you the weak squad. It's an atypical off-point fight on the weak side. The objective is to secure kills, then translate it into main ball value. This big second part here is what we lack in Boog. Our weak side has usually and typically always won, but you guys suck at translating into main ball value. Main ball value is typically secured by killing quad players or pressuring healers, and then light range DPS in Group 7. This is your primary objective once it is time to translate. So bottom left picture here is what you should be looking like standard positioning wise, like especially if we're defending, it's obviously the opposite if you're attacking. And then this is what it should look like on the bottom right here is if you get a pick on the enemy KS, the enemy weak side KS, then the ranged DPS should look and start troubling this bottom pocket. Our last defense, we did this very well. Could be better, I think, after watching some of the VODs. But again, I'm just letting the weak side, especially in Boog, the weak side know what you guys need to do a little bit better. Translate that, and you'll see how that ties in once we get to a later spot. Group 7, again, a typical off-point fight on the weak side, looking to win their fight so they can translate it into main ball value. Group 8, this is our inner lane. They fight closest to the quads on the strong side. They are primary space takers, so pretty much if Group 8 ain't taking space, then the Oppo fight ain't going to take space. They can look to support the middle lane, but should be looking for a lot of main raid value once space is taken. So for any of my kill squad players, especially my Oppo kill squad players, I want to think of yourself, this is kind of corny, but you're just going to have to work with me here, as a phalanx, right? So you got a guy on your left and you got a guy on your right. If you win what's in front of you, you should be looking to support the guy on your left or the guy on your right. And then the guy on your left and the guy on your right can win theirs, and they will then push up with you. All right? So basically, inner lane, you're looking to take space. When we do this with the initial approach on attack, you're going to be doing this with the quad players. You're going to be right next to them. I don't like to be behind them. They're not your escorts. Right next to them as a big, giant line moving through the enemy Oppo, taking space, and then earning it by securing kills. Oh, Group 9, mid lane. The fight just outside of inner lane, all right? This is... mid lane's pretty self-explanatory. Ironically, Group 9 usually secures the most kill squad kills. So again, Group 9 usually secures the most kill squad kills on enemy kill squad players because they can support the wide or the inner. That's where they're not really looking to support the main ball too much. But they should look to win fight and fold in or out on the inner or wide. So for my mid laners, just remember that if you do support the wide, if the wide is somewhat close and able to be supported, you are then giving up a lot of space and you are isolating your inner lane. So it's a temporary thing. Remember that anytime we extend, you should be doing it temporarily, not a permanent solution. Group 10, wide does wide things. Chakaman's the GOAT. Wide looks to win and then affect mid lane and inner lane fights. Pretty much, I don't know the magic behind wide lane yet. It's a pretty simple solution. You put Chakaman, Karif, and Dreidel on there, and you get a happy me who's not so bald sometimes. All right. I don't really know too much wide lane or wide fight macro. I just know it's a 5v5, usually goes out into fucking Narnia, and then if you've got a good wide, they usually translate it into helping the mid and inner lane and collapsing on that. But again, wide is very similar to Group 7 on the weak side. It's an isolated fight. Once you win it, you need to translate that into something else for the rest of the army. If you just chase them, they are going to continue to come back, and although you will stagger the enemy team, it doesn't translate anything for the ball. So just keep that in mind. You should be looking to play to win. This is our attack approach. I know there's 3 pictures. Just focus on the one on the left side for me. As we are approaching 1 and 2 and the rest of the ball groups are waiting, 4, 6, 8, and 9 should be in somewhat of a line. Don't take this positioning for heart. I just want you to be able to see the numbers. And then 10 is going to be off doing 10 things. As we approach, now look at the middle picture. 4 is going to be a little bit lagging, but we're going to be pushing up through Oppo. Again, holding hands here, holding hands as we take space. Excuse me. 10 still doing wide things. And then on the right side picture, this is ideally what it looks like. We leave group 4 behind, or the bottom left quad behind. 6 is now top left, and 8, 9, and 10 now has Oppo space, fighting to earn that space by securing kills. At this point, I usually walk the quad groups in, the right side, the weak side quad groups, and the point team, and now I can play the game as an attacker. Without this happening, remember, if this doesn't happen, I can't do anything as a shot caller. The main ball can't do anything without at least some sort of oppo contestment. So if we go back to that picture from before, if I don't own at least 3/4 of the quads, if I can't set up at least 3/4 of the quads, the shot caller can't do anything. It makes the main ball very much so weaker, and also it makes your top left group want to kill themselves. So my oppo groups, make sure that you are doing this efficiently. Remember, we've had some problems with getting staggered, over focusing on disruptors, playing for heal, playing front to back. When it's your job to take space, you stick to your target prios, you play aggressive, we walk the quads up, and then you look to start getting kills and finding main ball value. For defense overall, it's pretty simple. Again, look at the left side picture. This is our standard setup. As we are taking space, we are going to be moving up through oppo towards the enemy road. The white lines are your typical direction of where you should be applying damage when you're in this position. So as you can see here in the third picture, 8 is going to be pretty much pushed up if they've won inner. 9 should be with them, looking to secure this kills on this healer pocket or helping out the main ball quads. Same thing with group 7. Once they've won their fight, they should be looking to get main ball value by disrupting this healer pocket. And then on the very right side is kind of like after we've forced a reset, we should be looking to secure kills in oppo, clean them up, force a stagger, make the stagger harder for them so that they have to reset harder. There's a bunch of lines everywhere. I know it looks like someone came all over the screen, but you get the gist, right? If we've hard won, our quad groups are then going to push up, look to secure kills, clean up what's in our back line, and then reset. Again, resetting is very important. Looper is very good at identifying when he should be resetting. I am also very good at it, but if you don't fucking listen, then you're throwing your lives away, balls deep into bonfire. It makes us have to reset and play on the back foot. So force the pressure. Remember that when we are defending, bonfire is the extension. Extensions are temporary. If you are disrupting the enemy ball, you should be looking to eventually get out and reset as a group. Healers, I'm looking at you specifically. You are responsible for this for your group. Rylock is probably one of the best healers at letting his disruptors know when they're fucking up. But the rest of the disruptors also need to, or the healers also need to do this, all right? Disruptors can only see one direction, and typically they are moving forward. Healers, you can see everything. Let them know if they're going too far, okay? Things to remember. Big thing, all right? Boogaflu Kill Squad reviewers, Dusty and Rylock, God bless them. They've been doing really fucking well, but they have been focusing a little bit too much. We as a company have been focusing a little bit too much on the micro. It's not an issue. It's actually really good because a lot of our players are new to the class, but now we are transitioning to that, to a macro focus, all right? Because the common theme with Boog is that we get the micro down, we get the macro down, we start winning, and then we forget the macro. So we are transitioning our viewers' eyeballs to mostly macro. We want you guys to understand how to use your kit. We feel like you should be already understanding how to use your kit, but you should be knowing when to ape and when to chill out, All right. So basically, we're just remember this: an extension is temporary. If you are in a place that you are not designed to be, it is a temporary thing. You cannot be there forever. Next tip: target calling is super important. The whole group should never be stopped talking. I know we had a person drop out of the company because they couldn't handle 4 or 5 people talking at one time. If you can't handle a kill squad being vocal, get the fuck out of kill squad. Go play point VG or something where you can just turn your brain off and pad the whole war. No offense, Clay. But if you're in a kill squad, you are taking on the understanding that you will be speaking and you will be listening for 30 minutes straight. It is a very constant thing. It can be overwhelming, but it's what we expect you guys to do. This is a big one as well. If your healer has immense pressure of 2+ people, help them. For fuck's sake, somebody help your healer. If there's 2+, and I know like Rylock would argue, well, I can handle 2 people. I get it. But typically, right, under most circumstances, if 2 or more people is on your healer, peel them off and then go back to doing what you're supposed to do. Remember, healers, when this happens, you kite towards your group. You don't kite away from your group. If you kite towards your group, that then shortens the amount of time it takes them to get to you, and then they can peel you, and we don't lose any space. The number one thing that we had early on was that our healers were just running away and then getting chased, and then the group would have to chase them, and then all the space that we earned is then gone. So healers, remember to kite towards your group, and don't isolate yourself. That's pretty much it, though. Are there any questions? I know it was quick. Did anyone show up late and want me to go over anything? Again, it was just a refresher. Yeah, don't have an ego. Use your mouth. Thank you. I didn't mean to call you out, but you're just kind of the GOAT type shit, so you got it. Any other further weigh-ins? I wish Dusty was here. He'd probably have a lot. All right, well, that's cool. Again, it was just a refresher, nice and quick. I did record this, so if you want the recording, you can slide into my DMs. But basically, the overview, right? We went over the kill squad objective. We went over target prios. We did an individual group breakdown of 7, 8, 9, and 10. Remember, 7 is weak side, 8 is inner lane, 9 is mid lane, and 10 is wide fight. We went over our attack approach. And we also talked about our defense overall and resets. And just to reiterate, the overall objective of Kill Squad in this meta is to fight flanks / outside of the quads. You do this to secure main raid value and apply and prevent healer pressure. All right? Are there any questions? Nope. Cool. Thanks for coming, especially Kill Squad players. Hopefully you get to review this with your groups, especially little Boog guys. I know you guys play in different groups over there. But that wraps it up. We are pushing at 8 o'clock, and then I'm going to start the main ball macro video at 8 o'clock as well. So thanks for coming. I know it's quick. I hate to talk forever. Love you.